Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is self-reflection. It's about noon on a Friday. I'm done with work for the week. I got the 3.5 day weekend, right? I stop working at by noon on every Friday, which I love, which I highly recommend. It's a beautiful winter day here where I'm at. The trees are just glorious. I did drive. I did see my daughter last night and had to drive home in the snow, so that wasn't that. That was a little bit dicey, but really I've got a 4-wheel drive truck and very confident in its abilities, and it was fine. So the self-reflection topic, I think you can't go wrong if you spend plenty of time analyzing yourself. You know, you're at a certain point in your life, and I think it helps you to reflect back on the past difficulties and past frustrations and past problems, you know, why you might have gotten yourself into those circumstances, and how you might get out of them in the future. You know, I was spending time reflecting on why it was so difficult for me to speak up, speak my mind, give talks, ask questions, engage with people, meeting new people, because that part of life I have mostly solved. I can mostly do that stuff, and it wasn't really that long ago that I could not. I was what you would call a shy introvert, never asking questions, never speaking up, would never be able to sit and talk on even this phone, wouldn't be able to give public presentations to up to hundreds of people. And I think there's certain reasons for that in my childhood that I've reflected on, and then and not to be angry with how I got to that point, but just to understand, and then by doing that, I think I can help my kids, I can help whoever needs to be helped. But you have to acknowledge how you might have gotten to the point you're at in your life now. And if you're totally frustrated and you have all kinds of problems, this would be extremely important. And I would highly recommend you spend, plenty of time and effort doing this. It dovetails in the idea of thinking about your life more deeply and keeping positive and all that type of stuff. But the reflection, the self-awareness, and if you become more self-aware of yourself, what makes you tick, why you do what you do, how you got to the position in life you want, and what you might do in the future to make your life better, it helps you with the situational awareness about the world at large and the types of things that probably would be just a disaster for you to get involved with. Like a self-aware person, I don't think they would go to these protests and get into all kinds of trouble. I think a self-aware person would focus on them, their own lives. And I think, if I talk to my kids about this all the time, what the government does and doesn't do, it has a huge effect on us, but the hugest effect you have is on yourself. My biggest problems weren't the government, it was my own getting involved with somebody I shouldn't have gotten involved with, right? And then once I even knew that I shouldn't stay married, I stayed longer and longer and longer, making it worse and worse and worse for myself. So that wasn't the government's fault that happened to me. All right, that was my fault. So why would I get upset to the government? No, I don't think. I think that is not the problem. I would say, yeah, there's things that ought to be worked on, and you can make your opinion known about those things. But I think the better part of things is to work on things yourself. What can you do to make your life better? Once your life is much, much, much better, you have a lot more opportunity to help. And that's where the self-awareness comes in, to honestly say, is your life a mess or isn't it? Right? When I was married, my life was just a blasted mess. Just a horrible blasted mess. I can't even believe how I was at that time. But I can totally see how I got to that place. So let's say, looking back from here, from a happier man point of view, yeah, that's pretty stupid. You got yourself into that, Hans. You really blew it. You shouldn't have done all that. But looking back before that, I can see why I did what I did. Do you understand the difference? So if your life is a mess, acknowledge it and figure out how to unscrew it up, right? It's your life. You have the right to try to make it as good as you can. And this may take massive effort. Once you determine, go through the 3 steps, get your mind right first. What is it that the problem is? And then what mental work would you do to make sure your mind is right? It might be a self-confidence problem, might be a self-esteem problem, might be you're looking at the world wrong problem. For example, when I was married, I was looking at it from the point of view is I have to stay married no matter what. When really, when you're married to somebody who's not good for you, the solution is to leave, right? But I think a lot of guys, even a lot of women, they find it very, very difficult to leave, even when that's the obvious solution. If this sounds like you, get my book or check into it on the ahappierman.com website. The book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with the 3-Step System, is very prominent on there. And I have a big long article about it, so you can read about to see if this fits you, and then you can buy the book if you need to. And if you need it, the book will save your life. Truthfully will. I've had other men have contacted me, and the book is saving their life, and it saved mine. So I'm a very happier man. But that self-awareness, that what's wrong with my life and what would make it better? What do I want in my life? What don't I want? Should I get involved with this? Should I go and protest and get involved with that? Me, no, don't do that. But maybe you need to. I would suggest hardly anybody does. I would just focus on you. Every time you think about joining big groups, I would think in terms of maybe a smaller group might have a better effect. And certainly the best effect is just you working on your life. That's the best effect. And the best effect is just maybe asking for help from here and there and getting good guidance. That will be the best effect you could ever have for yourself. So anyway, give that self-awareness idea a talk. I've got the Monday off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Talk about a self-aware person doing great things for the world. There you go, right? So I'm going to enjoy the day, reflect on all that, and hopefully you can be self-aware, spend time reflecting on your life, what's good, what's bad, what should I do moving forward. All for now.